When it comes to Cleveland sports, we go from
"You can't touch this"
to
"I can't watch this."
So listen to The Fix. It's easier on the eyes.
Before we go to the break, I want to talk to you a little bit again about our good friends at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships, some of the hottest fights in the world today. Each and every one of their huge events, Harry Buffalo is one of the few places in Northeast Ohio you can go there and watch each and every UFC fight at the Harry Buffalo. And let me tell you, I've been there. The people are out the door. They are to the rafters. It is one of the craziest environments for some UFC fights. Wing Mondays, they've got great deals on wings and drinks, and every day of the week there's a different special, a different deal. And don't forget the Bison Burger, the unbelievable. It is the combination of a fantastic burger and eating healthy combined into one unbelievable sandwich. You have got to get a Bison Burger while you're there. So whatever you're looking for, whatever day of the week, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sundays, there's something for you at the Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, just outside Great Northern Mall. Check them out today. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Hey everybody, this is Jerry the King Lawler from WWE, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your neighborhood quick service X-Tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
The Sports Fix is on iHeartRadio. Download the free iHeart app today. Subscribe to the show and get your fix.
You love Cleveland, and you already know how much we love Cleveland. You know who else loves Cleveland? GV Art and Design. Everyday fans, you and I wear our pride on our sleeves. Now, you can wear your pride on your chest. GV Art and Design has one of the hottest Cleveland sporting lines. Log on right now to gvartwork.com. Check out all of their fantastic designs. And don't forget, use the sales code FIX10, FIX10, to save 10% on your total purchase. Follow gvartwork.com on Facebook, and remember, GV Art and Design, it's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
It was a beautiful day, sun beat down, I had the radio on.
That's right, sun's beating down. Tom Petty, you tell him, the Tribe running down a dream, baby. They're going to catch it. Will they catch it? Will they get down that rabbit hole by the time we come back to Cleveland? J-Rock back with you, rolling back with the Sports Fix. Going to go to the phones here in just a minute. Jonathan Knight, Sportswriter extraordinaire on the hotline. We're going to talk about that. Talk some Tribe here. I know he probably thinks I'm nuts. You all probably think I'm nuts. Then again, some of you maybe not, but some of you definitely think I'm crazy. That's fine. Hey, man, I've been accused of worse, and you may not be wrong. JK texted me this morning. He said, man, logic says they're out. The math says they're not. I'm like, shit, when have I ever been dictated by logic here in my decision-making, man? I'm telling you. The opportunity's there, as I said before the break, but the only thing you can do is just win them one at a time, and the math will add up at the end depending on how it all breaks down. J-Rock back with you. As I said, JK's on the hotline. You can't call. You can hit us up on Facebook and Twitter and email, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. Does the Tribe run it down? Are they out of gas? Do they have any juice left? What say you? And let's see what say my man Jonathan Knight. JK, how you doing?
Jerry, I'm good. I'm actually laughing because he played the Bee Gees right before the break there, and I was going to open with that. I was going to open with the Indians doing the John Travolta, but you stole my thunder, so well played.
I'm sorry, man. I decided yesterday. I played it, and I said, you know what? I'm playing it every day. every day until it's over, man, And seriously, like, I know it's against, like, common judgment. Well, there's teams in the way and there's only so many games. I get that. Like, I'm not crazy. I'm not just going, woo, blindly, the Indians are going to win, man. But, I mean, against reality and against all common sense, it's there. It's there. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
And they did it last year. They basically, again, are in a little tougher situation, but basically the same spot. We got 10 games to go. This is when they started that unlikely winning streak a year ago. So you have history on your side, in a sense. There is some precedent for them pulling this kind of thing off.
I mean, nuts, man. But like I was telling you earlier, and I said this before the break, right before we got you on, that it's the way Detroit resurged and switched places with Kansas City because, 2 weeks ago, you had both of them in front of you. So no matter which team you were chasing in the division or the wild card, you could make games up. Once you got past Detroit, all that was left was Kansas City that was significant. Everybody else was an also-ran. So them being switched into the wild card all of a sudden reopened that possibility instead of you have to win all 10 and everybody else has to lose, 8 out of 10 or whatever. Now, all of a sudden, you could erase 4 games. Like right now, the Indians, if they were to sweep Kansas City, would erase their entire deficit in the wild card in one weekend. That's the difference.
And that's what we talked about last week, the double-edged sword of playing the teams that you're chasing. And we saw last weekend the opposite side of that double-edged sword and how quickly the Indians fell behind the Tigers because they got swept. That, again, because it's a double-edged sword, if the Indians do something like that to Kansas City, because that's the team that they're primarily chasing right now, then they could be, in good shape a few days from now. So, I mean, we saw one side of that sword last weekend. Maybe we'll see the other side here in the next few days.
Yeah, and this weekend, as I said, it's the newest, biggest series in the history of the world here is this one coming up because this is the last, kind of the last one in between the homestand. You've got to at least, you got to sweep it, but you have to at least take 2 out of 3 here in Minnesota. You've got to bring it home with the chance. But, man, think about how crazy fun that last homestand can be if you do bring it home with the chance to do something.
Sure, and here's the thing. Here, let me give a perspective here, a mission for Indians fans that will, I think, make this not only easier but more enjoyable. And there's so many variables. There's so many things to keep in mind. There are so many teams that are still alive in this wild card race in the American League. Let's shave all of that off. Let's focus on one target because I think that in life, in whatever you're dealing with, if you're focusing on one target, one goal, you're much better off. You're much more likely to achieve what you're after, and everything else tends to fall in place after that. So my advice is this. Focus on Kansas City. Don't worry about anybody else. If the Indians need to chase one team down, they need more than that, obviously. They need to leapfrog at Seattle and or Oakland as well as Kansas City to get in, and then the Yankees and Blue Jays are right there on their tail, so there's a lot that has to happen. So even if all of this, in this potential scenario I'm about to outline, works out, the Indians still may be on the outside looking in, but we can live with that. So here's the thing. We're all pointing to next week when Kansas City comes in for 3.1 games, right? Yeah. And that's a big series. And this weekend we're saying, okay, the Indians are in Minnesota, they need to sweep or win 2 out of 3. What's being overlooked just a little bit is that Kansas City is playing Detroit this weekend, which is huge. I mean, really, in terms of this race, that's a bigger series than the Indians are in. Now, as much as I hate to say it for a number of reasons, but we're rooting for Detroit, right? I mean, that's the ideal situation for the Indians because we've given up. We're not going to catch Detroit, and we had our shot at Detroit and we blew it. That ship has sailed. So if you look at that and say, okay, well, Kansas City's in Detroit, and they are more or less heading in opposite directions. We've seen the Tigers really surge here these last few weeks, and the Royals have stumbled a little bit. So let's say the Tigers take 2 out of 3 from Kansas City. Let's say the Indians now take 2 out of 3 from Minnesota. That's one game we gain on Kansas City, right? Now Kansas City comes in next week for 3.1. And if the Indians can take 3 of those 4. You shave 2 more games off. Now that deficit is down to what? I think a single game going into the last weekend. And that's a pretty good situation. Now, Kansas City will have to scoreboard watch because it's out of our control. Kansas City goes to Chicago for that last weekend, and Chicago has really hit the skids here the last few weeks. So you figure, okay, well, Kansas City likely will take 2 out of 3, but they've been scuffling as well. They could stumble there and lose 2 out of 3, opening the door. But basically, what you want to do here in these next 2 series is to keep yourself alive, extend the game, extend the race, so that you're within striking distance going into that last weekend, and or that last series there with Tampa Bay. And if they are within 1 game of Kansas City, then great. And if they, like I said, they could catch Kansas City, they could overtake Kansas City, they could tie Kansas City, and it may not mean anything. But I have the feeling that if they do everything they need to do, short of winning 10 in a row, I mean, because as much as we like to think they could do this, and they did it last year, that likely that's not going to happen. But if they win 2 out of 3 this weekend, take 3 out of 4 from Kansas City next week, now you're going into the last weekend, and a lot of things can happen, and you're still in the race. And if you catch Kansas City, I really think that either Oakland or Seattle will stumble. I think you'll be able to hold off Toronto and New York, and you may find yourselves at the least in a 1-game playoff with somebody to get that 1-game playoff, essentially, the wild card spot. So that's sort of what mentally how I'm approaching this thing. Let's just focus on Kansas City. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't even look at scores. Pay attention to Detroit, Kansas City this weekend, and of course root for the Indians. And I think if you focus on that, make that your sole target, I think everything, and they achieve that target, everything else will work out.
See, I'm not crazy here, man. I mean, this is.
You're not crazy. You're really not. I mean, you're not. As much as I've given you a hard time, and they just won't die. Hats off to the Indians. And last night, I think it epitomizes this race. They just won't die. They will not die. They will not go away. They may get beat eventually, but just when you think they're dead, they buzz. I mean, last night, my goodness, they're down to their final 3 outs. They get potentially robbed. I think ultimately, I think that was the right call that was made on the Michael Bourne double. But either way, the writing was on the wall. They just got hosed out of a game tying home run, and then Bourne gets caught in a base running blunder and blows that. But they still managed to tie it. They still managed to win. Yeah, I mean that right there. What you saw last night is a team of destiny. That's the type of thing, the type of win. And we haven't seen many of those in the last few weeks.
I almost texted that to you and Mike Brandenberry last night and said, "This is what happens when destiny really is on your side, man. When you bunt, you just the call goes against you, and then you bunt for the sacrifice and end up with the base hit because the guy hustles so hard. Then you screw it up." And you almost give it away by getting caught at the plate and not at least stall it. I really thought, I thought that was going to be what got him, was not getting in the rundown and getting those runners over to second and third, because I go, man, wow, now we're a double play away from this game and basically this season being over here, man. But they got it. They got one more batter up, and Santana hit the ball. You know what I mean? And then somehow they're still in it. And then it looks like, oh man, this game may never end, man. We're gonna go into one of these 15, 16 inning nobody hits the ball deals, and we're gonna run out of players and everything. But somehow they get it done, and that's what I mean. They won't die, man. Like. They'll get all the way to where you're handing them the DNR papers here. Would you sign this? There's nothing else we can do. And as they're looking, wait, did you see his finger twitch? I'm not signing this. He's still alive, Still alive, yeah. They couldn't decide last night, and really over these last few weeks. Are they a team of destiny or are they a team of density? Like, they just can't decide. It's one or the other. And they're in last night, in a matter of minutes, they're fluctuating back and forth between the two. So we'll get our answer in the next few days. But yeah, last night a couple of paddles to the heart and a big jolt get the pulse going, and sure enough, they keep on keeping on. They're still alive. Think about what we're talking about, though. We're talking about staying up until the wee hours of the morning watching the Indians play a 90-loss team where nobody can hit the ball.